and the Hangout. We're on air. We're on YouTube. Not that anyone has logged in yet. Takes them a little while.
Oh, they'll be here.
Oh, they will. In droves.
They're coming.
I can't get over how many people listen on the radio. All these people coming up to me over the weekend saying that they listen to the show. It's unbelievable.
Do they
And none of
really?
them call in. Yeah, and yet nobody calls in. It's like, come on, pick up the phone.
Wow.
I even had somebody a couple of weeks ago, somebody texted me a tech question while we were in the middle of the show. And so I replied back and said, here's the number, call in. Nope, wouldn't even call in to get the answer. You believe that?
Wow. Like a legit tech question?
Yeah, an actual legit bona fide tech question.
It would have given us tech stuff to talk about.
Yep.
Jesus, people, come on.
Oh, and Brent just emailed me something that I want to get to at some point during the show.
Okay, I have a note from last week that you told me to remind you, and I was writing quickly, and it looks like Facebook unique charts dropped. I'm guessing that's not what that actually says. Off over 20%. I don't know.
I don't know what you just said.
Last week we were talking about Facebook at the end of the show, and you said for me to make a note and remind you to talk about
No, it was Apple, and I said they'd be at 108, and they're not even.
No. I've got that's on my calendar. We were talking about Facebook.
Okay.
And the changes Facebook had made. And you said for me to remind you that you wanted to talk
10
about
seconds here. Yeah,
something.
quick.
Facebook's unique somethings are down over 20%.
Oh, yes.
And it looks like charts, which I don't think is right.
Shares.
That makes much more sense. See?
Yeah, it's unique shares, not unique charts.
See, I'm
Hello
not way off.
and good evening, and welcome to Tech Talk. It's Tuesday night. It's that time again. I'm Alex Zandermack, your host. In the Google Hangout, I have my lovely co-host, Danielle.
Hello.
How are you?
I am well, thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. A little bit aggravated today, to be honest. So, you know, we're in the middle of these elections here, and early voting started yesterday.
Okay. I did not know early voting had started, but yes.
Yeah, it started yesterday. And the way it's set up here in Rockdale, we have party line primaries, right? So you can vote Republican or Democrat. No one's on the Republican ticket. There's one candidate, Thomas Chastain, locally anyway. So he's safe all the way to November. And there's been a lot of confusion here. Republicans who want to vote for Eric Levitt, who's on the Democrat ticket, but they think that if they vote for the Democrat now, they're also going to have to vote Democrat in November. So I've been trying to let people know that no, absolutely not. Republicans can go out, they can declare Democrat, they can cast their votes, and then come November, they can vote Republican just like they normally would. I also had another idea. Senate District 43 is on the ballot, which is Senator Van Ness's district. And on the Democrat ticket, there are 3 candidates running. So their vote during the primary split. So I said, here was my idea. Every Republican go, declare as a Democrat, under Senate District 43, write in Janice Marie Van Ness, put a check mark next to her name. She can win the primary. If she gets every Republican in the county to vote, she'll win the primary because the Democrats are split on that ticket. And then she'll be safe. She'll be done. That'll be it. Which I thought was a great idea. Put it on Facebook. The senator retweeted, resent it. I sort of retweeted, mixing up my social networks there.
Yeah, you are.
The senator shared it. That's what it's called. People were jumping on board. And the Board of Elections today said, no, we're not accepting write-ins. We're not accepting write-ins. Now, this is highly shady to me because state law says you can write in any qualified candidate or any candidate that is qualified. She has qualified for the election. By law, you should be able to write her name in. She should be able to win the Democratic primary, and that should be the end of it. Now, and nothing's going to happen, obviously. They make up the rules as they go. They do exactly what they want. So that kind of irked me today. So I put a video on Facebook and just stressing, telling Republicans, yes, you can vote in this election, and no, it will not affect you. It come November. Come November, you can still cast your vote for Republicans. If you're a Trump supporter, vote for Trump. If you're a, Hillary supporter, vote for Hillary. Whatever. And then, of course, your state and local elections also. So yeah, that kind of annoyed me. It was I thought, a clever idea that was thwarted by evil lefties and their nasty little lefty fingers digging into the pie.
That was a clever idea, though.
Yeah, I thought it was a great idea. But nope, sorry, they're not going to let us do this.
Hmm.
I have something here. Actually, let me get this started. So, oh, actually, okay, here we go. I don't do this. I'm going live on Facebook because what I'm about to talk about, I think, is extremely important. I don't do this often, and hi to anybody that tunes in. We're in the middle of the radio show. But I was knocking about on Facebook yesterday, and a story from Clark Howard flashed by in my timeline. And for those people that don't know, Clark Howard is I guess, a consumer rights advocate. Do you know what I mean by, who he is, right? You've heard of him.
Yes.
He's on the radio, talks about money and how to invest and things like that. But this story flashed by, and it was one of these sensational headlines: electronic cigarettes have a chemical that causes a nasty lung disease.
Oh God.
And it immediately got my attention because it's the story, number one, is bollocks, right? They're talking about diacetyl. Diacetyl is a chemical, it's a food additive, and it's used to give a creamy flavoring to electronic e-cig flavors, and it's used in popcorn, in the buttery topping for popcorn, which so they're talking about the disease popcorn lung, and it's so overblown, it's ridiculous. There were 6 cases of popcorn lung, all in 6 people in this one popcorn factory, which is how it is got its name, by the way, popcorn lung. 6 people diagnosed with it, and it was attributed to diacetyl. They still use diacetyl, by the way. There haven't been any confirmed cases of popcorn lung since then. Secondly, diacetyl is found in tobacco cigarettes at levels far higher than in electronic cigarettes, and there have been precisely 0 recorded cases of popcorn lung among smokers. Of course, there's been a lot of death among smokers, so I guess it's possible that popcorn lung, maybe the lung cancer kind of hit the popcorn lung. Who knows?
Killed him before the popcorn lung got to him.
That's right. Sorry, anybody who's watching on Facebook, my co-host is in a hangout, so you can't hear what she's saying. And thirdly, in 10 years of data among vapors, there have been precisely 0 cases of popcorn lung caused by vaping. So it kind of annoyed me that they're posting this story. This supposed consumer rights advocate is posting this story, and he's giving out bad information. And so I made a few comments. I said, he invests a lot. He's probably up to the hilt in pharma stocks and stuff like that, and he's trying to protect his Nicorette money. But I got to thinking, and I thought, there's no way that Clark Howard runs his own Facebook page, right? It's going to be some intern probably doing this, and I'm thinking it's probably some undereducated social justice warrior type. She just completed her MRS degree. She somehow got Mr. He'll Do to jam one up her. She recently squeezed out her first little parasite,
Alex,
which she obviously thought was some major fucking accomplishment, even though billions of women have done it before her. And now she's decided to go on this justice rampage to ban anything that she finds even remotely a threat to her, and that'll include anything that the rest of us consider fun or enjoyable, but more importantly, save lives. So this brings me to a report that came out last week from the Royal College of Physicians. These are guys in England. It's a organization in England, and these are not they're not your typical science fair nerds, right? These are the big boys of science. Um, in fact, these are these are the guys who I believe back in the 50s wrote the first scientific paper, or the first discovery paper on tobacco smoking, which the U.S. Attorney General then used as his guidelines to regulate the tobacco industry. So um, these aren't people to fool around with. Well, as I thought would happen, they issued a decision saying that electronic cigarettes should be recommended to smokers as a nicotine replacement therapy or a harm reduction option, because they let me pull up their findings here. They said that damn it, I've lost that number. They came up. However, the hazards arising from long-term vapor inhalation from e-cigarettes available today is unlikely to exceed 5% of the harm from smoking tobacco. So this is two major organizations in England now, the Royal College of Physicians and Public Health England, who've both come out and both said we need to start recommending electronic cigarettes to Jenny took offense at that parasite remark. Sorry, Jenny. Who have both come out and said we need to start recommending these to smokers because it can reduce the harm from tobacco smoking by magnitudes, right? By 95%, let's say. As predicted, it was ignored completely here in the United States, right? You've got the Cancer Society in England who promote electronic cigarettes. You've got the Lung Association in England who promote electronic cigarettes. And on this side of the ocean, you have their sister organizations who are going out of their way to demonize electronic cigarettes. We have a government that is currently, the FDA is preparing their regulations for electronic cigarettes, which, if they're released as they were proposed, will effectively end the vapor market in the US and hand it over to big tobacco, who will be the only people who can afford to comply with the regulations they're proposing. The reason for this is money. Obviously, they are completely ignoring the science because of money. The U.S. Cancer Association, the American Lung Association, they all collect millions and millions of dollars from big pharma. These companies that make Nicorette and Chantix, the suicide drug, or the stop smoking drug, sorry. These organizations collect millions from them. Politicians collect millions in campaign contributions from these people. And so they have to protect that source of revenue. Then there's the tobacco settlement money, which goes directly to the states. And the less people smoke tobacco, the less money the states get. So naturally, the states want to protect that source of income. And electronic cigarettes are a direct threat to that income. Now, it got me thinking, we're in the middle of an election season where most people are going to the polls for their primaries. Now, most of this demonization of electronic cigarettes is coming from the left. Here's my suggestion to you. Every one of you knows a smoker. Every one of you knows somebody that could benefit from using electronic cigarettes. And if they're taken off the market, the government is effectively sentencing all these people to die. The attacks, again, primarily coming from the left. So vote. Well, I can't. Well, I will say vote Republican. Obviously, do that because they're a lot more friendly to vapors than people on the left. what surprises me though is we've got all these lefties who are completely ignoring the science from electronic cigarettes, yet they're the very first ones to point a finger at us on the right when we ignore the science about climate change. So maybe go talk to your politicians, write a letter, give them a phone call. And if you talk to them in person, tell them these products need to be left on the market. They need to be left as a consumer product, left to thrive and grow so that they can save people's lives. And if they make any attempt to try and take them off the market, they're going to lose their jobs, because taking them off the market is signing a death sentence to smokers. It will leave them with no choice other than pharmaceutical NRT products, which have an effective rate of, I don't know, what, nil, maybe 1% of people are successful in quitting using Nicorette or whatever the hell it is. No, send a message. We're in the middle of election. Tell them, leave electronic cigarettes alone. Tell them your grandmother needs access to an electronic cigarette so she can prolong her life another 5 or 10 years by getting off of tobacco. Because e-cigs, even the Royal College of Physicians have stated that electronic cigarettes are the most effective means available to smokers to quit smoking and get them off tobacco. That's it. Rant over. I hope some of you like and share this among Facebook groups, vaping groups, places like that, because it pisses me off. This is a perfect chance, perfect time for us to send a message to our lawmakers. So let's take advantage of it. We're still on the radio, by the way. You can go to justforfunradio.com or whatever, click on the links. We're going to get into some technology news here. In the meantime, I'll say goodnight to you people on Facebook. Thank you. There. Okay. That's my rant on that done.
That was quite a rant.
Yeah, it honestly, it pisses me off. But what are you going to do? Well, I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get in touch with our lawmakers and we're going to send a message. Don't ignore science. Every other country, well, not every other country, other developed nations, some of the most respected medical organizations on the planet are saying that these are safe and effective, and governments need to start recommending them. I would go as far as to say governments need to start banning tobacco cigarettes and making sure that electronic cigarettes are the only thing available. But still. So yeah, so there's my rant. Sorry about that. I just had to get it out of the way.
No, that was actually rather a tame rant. I mean, other than, the parasite, the personal attack on the person that you know nothing about.
Well, then it can't be personal.
No,
Am I
it was
right? How
no,
can it
that
be a
was
personal attack when I don't know her? No, I understand what you're saying, obviously.
you know exactly what I'm saying. That was a
I do. Listen, we got like a minute to a break. What was it you wanted to you had something you wanted to throw in before the first break?
The Qantas aircraft.
Oh, that dipshit.
Yeah.
Yes.
So a passenger on a Qantas aircraft that was trying to fly from Melbourne to Perth, Australia. Well, a dude on the plane had his personal hotspot on his phone. He named it mobile detonation device.
Yeah.
So, of course, the folks are scanning those things and detected a mobile detonation device. The passengers were told that the flight would not take off until the device was located.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they grounded the plane, searched the plane, didn't figure out who it was, never found the guy. But 40 people got off the plane, would not fly on the plane.
What a genius. And you know what they could have done is just had people start unlocking their phones and checking their history as they got off the plane.
Right.
And that is a segue to a story that we'll get to when we come back from this break, right?
Yeah, we will.
All right, we'll be back in a few. All right. Jenny is seriously griping.
The guru is in the house.
Yeah, so when we get back, we'll talk about that that toothless, absolutely redundant court decision that I guess people think is a big deal. But I'll tell you why it's not a big deal.
Okay, we have some comments on YouTube.
I'm sure we do.
Um, Kip Hansen says, let's talk about the real issues. Why are cigarettes still legal to buy?
Exactly. I agree with that. I
He
agree
says,
entirely.
on the way to the store to buy cigarettes, a person will get a ticket for not buckling up. Isn't that a little bit fucked up? He says, voting is for sheep who think their vote counts. He says, I'm waiting for good topics.
Well, I obviously I like to think that our vote does matter. I think what's more important is actually making a relationship with your because the problems are really going to hit us when it comes to vaping. It's going to hit us on the local level, right? It's cities and counties that are passing most of the legislation. There's something going on now I want to say it's in Carrollton. They're trying to ban vaping. They had a hearing, and you know how many vapors went to this hearing?
Mm-mm.
Zero. Zero vapors went to this hearing. The GSFA was there. Dimitri flew down again from North Carolina, and he was there. But no local vapors bothered going to this hearing. And I can't fathom that. Now, I obviously in this political season, I'm talking to my local lawmakers every single day. Right.
Right.
And I'm seeing them every weekend and having conversations with them. And I've discussed electronic cigarettes with Oz. Obviously Terry, who's running for post one. I discussed them with Thomas. He's running for post one. I've had the senator in here. We talked about them. So I take every opportunity I get when I'm face to face with a lawmaker, I talk about electronic cigarettes and try to make them aware of the truth behind them rather than the hype that they're seeing online or on television or in the media. Not
Right.
that anybody reports facts anymore.
Kip
So
agrees with you, by the way, that local voting. Local voting, I agree with.
Yeah, so I think I agree with him. On a national level, our voices are completely unheard. You know, on a local level, your voice is really important, especially when it comes to something like this, because it will be a local ordinance that ends up limiting your rights as a vapor rather than the FDA regulations are supposed to be coming out, but they've been delayed so many times that I have to wonder if the FDA are not actually going to take a scientific approach rather than an emotional approach. I'm hoping, I got my fingers crossed that they're actually going to start paying attention to the science and put the emotion aside and come out with some reasonable regulations that leave the consumer market right where it is, leave the flavors available to vapors, because the evidence has shown that the flavors are critical when it comes to people being successful in using electronic cigarettes to stay tobacco free. I'm hopeful. We'll see. We will see. And I don't know I'm sorry, who was asking? Who was it that was saying? Who was it that was asking those questions?
Kip and excuse me, Jacob is on as well. I don't know if you heard me say that the guru is in the house.
Oh, okay. No, I
and
didn't.
Jacob says that Kip is a friend of his.
Oh, okay.
And yes, Kip, these are in fact headphone ears. I forgot to turn my ears on.
Yeah,
so
and they are also speakers.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, which is brilliant.
They are, yes, very loud speakers.
All right, we got a little ways. So when we get back, we'll be on to the thumbprint nonsense.
Okay.
Which I guess isn't nonsense, and I suppose there are some. But I you know what? I'm saving it for when we go back on air.
I've been saving it all day.
So Jacob and Kip. So that means we got two. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Kip is like-minded with Jacob, because Jacob, I don't want to say publicly that Jacob is kind of anti-government, but Jacob's a little bit, maybe a smidge anti-government, trying to
Slightly,
trying to tone that down a little bit. And
slightly
I
anarchist
imagine Kip
around
as
the
well,
edges.
especially with what he said about seatbelts. I hate wearing seatbelts. I think seatbelts kill people. I saw a crash test where a seatbelt took the head off of a crash test dummy. That's not safe. I mean, nothing to say of that, huh? No, obviously
I
that's not safe.
No, I mean, I think that wearing seatbelts is safer than not wearing seatbelts. I think there might be limited situations in which having a seatbelt on makes a person less safe than not having it on. But dude, you know physics.
I
You
do.
know
I
that.
also I understand physics, and part of physics is time. And I know for a fact that at 50 miles an hour, your airbag will deploy before your seatbelt even has a chance to pre-tension.
So you're
That's
safer
just a fact.
without a seatbelt on,
I think so
being
because the airbag,
unrestrained.
while an airbag, when it actually bursts out, if you bang your head into it, it feels like a solid object. On the rest of your body, it's a lot better for your body for like chest impact when you slam into it than a seatbelt tensioning and yanking on you and breaking your ribs and destroying you. Now, bear in mind, this is just opinion.
What about
That
rollover crashes, or what about impact from other directions other than straight on? Like,
sure,
what about a rollover crash?
sure, you have a point, but I'm just going to ignore that entirely.
Okay. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
As long as
No,
we're not
like I said, this
actual
is just
logic.
opinion. I don't know any statistics. I don't know that a seatbelt makes you safer, or I don't know that it doesn't make you safer. But I do know that an airbag deploys in less time than the pre-tensioner on a seatbelt will tighten up and hold and restrain you.
Well, and I mean, and since you can plan your accident and choreograph it, that makes total sense.
Hmm,
Kip has
obviously.
responded. He said, "You would be right. You can tell the world I am against our corrupt government."
Hmm.
He said, "My point was
I
they
don't
want
blame.
to."
No, I'm not. You don't have to justify that. I'm right there with you, brother.
Hey, I'm not done. He
Okay.
said, "My point was they want to save our lives while we go to buy cigarettes to kill us."
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. He's absolutely right.
Jacob says, "You're going to love the world according to Mike on Wednesday nights." Oh, I'm guessing that's to Kip.
I would assume so because I hate the world according to Mike
Oh
on
no,
Wednesday
that's me.
nights.
That's me. He says, "Where facts come out of thin air," which
Yeah,
is totally true.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just make the
Now,
shit up as you
Mike
go
and
along.
me, I'll sit here and say, listen, this is purely opinion. I know
Right? Yeah,
none
I'm
of the
making this shit up.
statistics. Mike will yank a statistic straight out of his butt
Yeah,
and
just make shit up.
hold it up there as fact and say,
Yeah.
yep, these
Yep.
are the numbers.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have no idea whether seatbelts actually do. You know what? In rollovers, absolutely, of course they will. It's a
Yeah.
given. It's common sense and logic. But we have side impact airbags. I don't see how a seatbelt's really going to make you any safer in case of a side impact.
My car doesn't have side impact airbags.
It doesn't. Your
Does yours?
big
I
old
don't think it
your
does.
your massive hum. Well, it's a
Uh-huh.
Hummer though.
Right.
I
Yeah, it
mean, your
is.
Humvee is one big impact shield.
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like being wrapped in a big fucking can of metal.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone hits that, it's not really you we need
Well,
to be concerned about.
I'm in like more danger from myself though than I am from any like, driving it over something or off of something or up against something.
Hmm.
Anyway, we don't
All
need to
right, let me
share all
find
that
this
with the world.
stupid thumbprint story. No, you can pull up the story and
Do you
you
want me
can
to
tell
send
the
it to you?
story, and then I'll give you my opinion on this.
Here, I can
Which
send it to
again
you real quick.
will be purely opinion. We'll be back on in 1 minute.
Okay. I have a couple versions of this story, but I mean, it's pretty much all the same thing.
Yeah, it is. You pick one
Excuse
or
me.
mix and match, do whatever you want. But yeah, it's absolutely inane because let's assume the government, let's assume science discovered a way to prevent 95% of birth defects. It would be hailed as a miracle, right?
I Facebooked you the thing because I have completely jacked up my iMessage on my computer.
Okay.
So I don't know that it actually works at all anymore. I'm gonna try to send you this and see if it works on
All right,
iMessage.
we're back. We were actually having a conversation with some people in YouTube on the chat, and Kip made a very good point. You know, if the government were to ban electronic cigarettes, he said you could be driving to the store, get a ticket for not wearing a seatbelt while you're going to buy a product that's going to kill you, meaning a tobacco cigarette. And he's absolutely right. Some government regulations are absolutely inane. And I was just saying, if let's assume the science community came up with a method that was guaranteed, not guaranteed, a method that would prevent 95% of birth defects, it would be hailed as a miracle, right? we
Yeah.
have we have a product that the private sector consumer market has can come up with that reduces 95% of the harm associated with smoking, and our politicians want nothing to do with it. They want it off the market. It's absolute bollocks. It's bullshit is what it is. Anyway, let's move on. I had a lovely segue into this privacy story, and blew it by bitching about e-cigs again. Go ahead. What was that story, Danny?
I thought I had notes on this, but I don't because I thought
Uh,
you were gonna want to rant about it.
mhm.
Um, but there is a case. Authorities in, I believe it's in Los Angeles, um, forced a woman to use her fingerprint to unlock her iPhone. I know what it was. So she is the girlfriend of a suspected gang member.
Yes.
So she was arrested for something, and they were allowed to force her to use her thumbprint to unlock her iPhone so that they could get access to her contacts,
Right.
the information on her iPhone.
Right. Now,
And go ahead.
Now, this isn't news. The Supreme Court ruled on this last session, and the Supreme Court ruled that your fingerprint is different to a password in your head, and that the government has a right to compel you to provide your fingerprint to unlock your phone. So we already everyone knew that this was a possibility, and there are a number of safeguards in place to prevent it against this. By the way, if your phone is restarted, you're required to enter a passcode. If the battery goes dead and they charge the phone up, you're required to enter a passcode. If 24 hours go by without the phone being unlocked, you're required to enter a passcode. So there are many, many instances where they can go get a warrant and compel you to unlock it with your fingerprint. You put your thumb on the thing, and it's still going to prompt you for a passcode anyway, and they're right back to square one. That's why this is kind of toothless. And I say kind of because in this case, they got their warrant within 45 minutes of arresting her. So,
Yeah.
and now that's highly, by the way, highly unusual. And I don't know what evidence they presented to the judge in order to get the warrant that fast, but they got it within 45 minutes. So chances are she put her thumb on there and
It
unlocked.
just
Me,
sang like a
me,
canary, I'm guessing.
yeah. If
Well,
it were me,
you know,
if it got to the point where I thought I'm about to be arrested, I just turn my phone off in my pocket. I
right.
turn it off and shut it down so that when it powers back up, I have no option but to enter a passcode, in which case the Fourth Amendment then protects me.
Right.
Well, Fourth and Fifth, an unreasonable search, and my right not to incriminate myself. That's why I think it's kind of toothless in most cases. Generally, it's a pointless decision. And like I said, the Supreme Court ruled on it. Like it was either the last session or it may have been 2 years ago, from what I remember.
Was that the Virginia case? There was a case in Virginia that was the groundbreaking one.
I
On
don't
the
recall. It was the government trying to get somebody to provide a passcode. When
right.
he wouldn't provide a passcode, they tried to get him to provide a fingerprint, and so it went to the courts, and the court said yes, you can get a fingerprint from him. But by this time, months and months had passed, and they needed a passcode anyway before they could even try to get into the phone. So So yeah, it's very clear. You cannot be compelled to provide a passcode that's kept in your head, but
Right.
you can be compelled to provide a fingerprint. Now, that doesn't mean that they can, grab you and manhandle you and manipulate you into putting your finger on a phone.
Right.
They were never granted that right.
Right.
You can still refuse. However, you will then go to jail. Right? If a judge orders you to unlock your phone with a fingerprint, and you don't actually put your finger on there, you're going to go to jail. If it's been more than 24 hours, don't worry about it. Just put your finger on the damn thing, and it's going to prompt you for a passcode anyway. In which, like I said, in which case they're back to square one, and there's nothing they can do.
Right.
So that's that. I don't see that as a huge big deal. And I think it will probably get overturned by another court at some point in time, especially after this San Bernardino nonsense. I think this is all going to come to a head, and I hope they come down on the side of us, the citizen, but who knows?
Why do you
Um,
think this one's going to be overturned?
because I think the alternative is too dangerous. The alternative is providing a backdoor and breaking encryption, and
No, the fingerprint one. Why do you?
oh well, that it's all tied together. I think it's all tied together. I think any I don't think they'll be allowed to compel us to provide a passcode or a fingerprint or anything that breaks encryption. I think it's all going to get overturned and all bundled in under our Fourth Amendment rights.
Do you think distinguishing the fingerprint as not a product of your mind from the passcode, which is a product of your mind, do you think that's too fine of a distinction?
Um,
Because that's what
I
they're
don't know.
doing. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
That's
don't
what's
know.
keeping it from being self-incrimination.
Yeah, I think when it's keeping or what they believe to be incriminating evidence on your phone, and they're forcing you to present that evidence, you know, I don't believe that's going to hold up in the courts for too much longer. I think the onus will always be on law enforcement to crack the phone, because that's their job. It's not up to us to provide them evidence to make their case. And
But
using a fingerprint or a thumbprint is exactly that. It's us providing our evidence, providing them, evidence to build their case.
but they, I mean, they had to get a search warrant though. It's not like
I understand, and I think ultimately those warrants will be found to be unconstitutional, is what I'm saying. I think a warrant compelling you to unlock a phone will be determined to be unconstitutional. A warrant to search that phone, perfectly constitutional, except law enforcement have to be the ones to break into that phone and make entry into that phone, and the owner or the suspect in this case will not be compelled by law to provide that to them. Do you see what I'm saying? I think the courts are ultimately going to protect the individual and tell the government, nope, sorry guys, you got to do some police work. That's what I think. That's what I hope anyway, and that's predominantly how the courts have ruled in the past on issues like this.
but haven't I mean, is getting the search warrant with the like getting the evidence to get the search warrant to show that whatever's on the phone, is that not police
No,
work?
all the search warrant does is grant them permission to access the device.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they have to show just cause, right? Like,
Well, they're supposed to be probable cause, and
right,
yeah, absolutely. And assuming they've met that burden and a judge issues a warrant for them to search the phone, then they can go unlock the phone. That's what this whole Apple in
right,
California fight was about. At that point, law enforcement tried to compel Apple to unlock the phone, at
right,
which point Apple said, no, that violates our Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights. Just like it violates the Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights of the person that owns the phone.
right.
So yeah,
But
ultimately, I think that any warrant. I'm not saying search warrants will be illegal. I'm saying
right,
warrants compelling a suspect to unlock their phone will be determined to be unconstitutional by whatever means, whether it's with a passcode or with a fingerprint. The courts will ultimately say, no, you cannot compel a suspect to unlock a phone and provide you evidence against themselves, is what I believe will happen ultimately. Do you disagree? Make your
Uh,
case.
I don't. You and I come down a little. I don't know.
No case to make, huh?
No, it's
I
not that I
imagine.
have no case to make. It's that I think there's a difference between a product of the mind and a. I think that using a fingerprint to lock a phone then does make the fingerprint tantamount to a key, which is the part of that argument that they kept making at that Senate hearing that pissed you and me off so bad was that they kept likening decryption to a key. Like they
Yeah,
need the key to get into the file cabinet. That
right,
wasn't a fucking key. That was
right.
something that didn't exist.
But
This, I think,
there's also not a court in America anyway that will compel a suspect to hand over the keys to their house. They will issue a search warrant to law enforcement, and law enforcement can break down the door and make entry into that house. But a court will never compel a suspect to open the door for them and let them in, because they've never had to, because law enforcement can always just break down the door, so it's never been an issue. Now it's an issue, and it comes down to whether the suspect can be forced to unlock the phone, hand it to law enforcement, and say, here's the evidence you were after. I don't believe that's ever I don't think that's going to fly. I don't think that's going to last, and we haven't had that decision yet. That hasn't been tested. That
right,
we've tested it. We came halfway to testing it with a third party, i.e., Apple, right? And I think ultimately, had that gone the distance, the courts would have ruled in Apple's favor and said, no, absolutely not. They don't have to unlock that phone. You're going to have to find another way to access it. I
right.
think that's ultimately how it's going to come down with the individual as well. They're going to say, no, you can't force him to unlock that phone.
I
Now
disagree.
we have a
Think that the I don't think that the fingerprint thing is going to be overturned. But I mean, to your point, just stall, just refuse it, be held in contempt for 24 hours until the
right,
fingerprint doesn't work anymore.
right. That's
Like,
exactly
I
what
mean,
I would do.
how much shit do you have on your phone that you don't want them to see?
Right.
You know,
Or be smart. Everybody knows when it's time to get arrested, right?
or
You know, yeah, if you can't talk your way out of it, you know they're about to arrest you.
yeah,
Put your hand in your pocket, turn off your, well, don't do that. You don't put your
right.
hands in
Yeah.
your
You'll
pocket
get
because you
shot in
might
the
get
head.
shot.
Right.
But hopefully you have your phone in your hand
Drop
and
your phone, drop it
you're
on the
able to
ground,
turn
break
it
your
off.
phone. Yeah.
Yeah, drop it on the
Or
floor, smash it up, stamp
don't,
on it.
if you're going to do shady shit on an iPhone, don't protect it with your fingerprint.
Yeah,
Like,
when the Supreme Court made their decision, that was what people like the ACLU were saying. Don't use Touch ID,
yeah,
and then Apple built in securities to Touch ID, like the 24-hour
right.
thing and the passcode requirement after. Well, that was always there. The passcode requirement after a reboot, the 24-hour delay and stuff like that. That's in there. Um, I use it, and I will continue to use it. I don't expect to be arrested for anything at any point in the near future, so I'm actually quite comfortable using it.
Yeah.
Um,
I
if you're
am
doing
not nearly cool enough to worry about it. I've got,
yeah,
yeah,
and
multiple fingers.
if you're doing shady stuff on a phone, I don't know. Yeah, just use a passcode. Don't use a fingerprint
Yeah.
scanner. All right. Well, let's move on. Comcast. Did we talk about this last week? Their caps, their bandwidth caps. Mine
Uh,
is I think you and I talked about
I
it on
think, yeah,
Messenger.
we talked about it, but yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, we talked about it on FaceTime. So currently I'm limited to 300 gigabytes a month on Comcast. And you remember a couple of months ago I blasted through it
I do
because
remember that.
yeah, because I got a new two new iPhones, because I got one day, it died, had to go replace it. And in the meantime, I was doing all these backups and restores and updating apps and stuff like that. And I blasted through my 300 gigabytes. Um, well, Comcast are. This ties into a story last week, by the way, and I'll make that connection in a second. Comcast are increasing their data cap to 1 terabyte for
That is crazy.
all users that have a cap. So you have a bandwidth cap. You're not with Comcast though.
Correct.
Okay.
On both of those.
I imagine your provider is going to follow suit here. And here's what I think it's linked to. So last week we talked about this new streaming service, right? The Gay Cowboys Eating Pudding, the independent
Yes.
film streaming service.
Yes.
Turns out it's Time Warner, right? And I think that's going to be disastrous. I think they are starting off as this independent hippie film, rubbish, just to sneak it past the regulators. At which point they're going to start to grow, and they're going to hold people to ransom the way Comcast held Netflix to ransom. They're going to tell them if you want to have access to our content on Netflix, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. If you want your customers on our network to get decent speeds, you're going to have to pay us just blackmail money, just like you did to Comcast. That's what I think is ultimately going to happen. Shenanigans like that have raised some eyebrows at the FCC, especially when these providers have bandwidth caps in place. And so I think this is a preemptive move to try and soften up the FCC before Comcast start trying to stick it to the likes of Netflix and Hulu once more. I think they're throwing out a little sweetener to the FCC, and then they're going to turn around and jam it up our arseholes.
You think?
Oh yeah, yeah. These people are evil scumbag. Protected monopolies, man. Government protected monopolies. Hate them.
Right.
Again, I'll reiterate what I said last week. If they were just private companies in competition with each other, and I had access to any of them at my house, and they were forced to compete, wouldn't have a problem with it, because these caps wouldn't exist anyway. Right? Just like happened in the cell phone market. When the market truly opened up to competition, the caps started to go away. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
now on T-Mobile. I have unlimited everything because of competition. At my house, I don't have that competition. I have a bought and paid for government protected monopoly of Comcast. They are my choice. They set the price. They determine what services and what speeds I get. I have no say in it. I can't go to Time Warner or Charter or Time Charter, whatever it's going to be called.
Right.
Now that they're merging, I don't have the option of getting them as a service provider. So I'm stuck with Comcast. Comcast make the rules, the government protect it. And I have a big problem with that. These government protected monopolies need to go away. Get rid of them, make these companies compete in an open free market, and then watch services improve and prices come down. Anyway, I guess the good news out of that in the short term is that your bandwidth cap on Comcast will be increasing to 1 terabyte, I believe, by June. It says here by June for all customers. So keep an eye on that. We got a break, Danny. I don't know what we'll talk about when we'll get back. We'll work that out during the break.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back in a few. It's amazing how I can turn any damn tech topic into politics.
Into a rant. You can make anything rant worthy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't mean to. It's just everything fucking annoys me.
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, that kind of stuff really does annoy me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're going to have a government protected monopoly, why doesn't the government just step in and take over Comcast and make it a public utility? Why don't they force it to operate under public utility laws, under those same regulations with the same pricing schemes, where they have to go? Now, granted, in Georgia, they do have to go to the, who is it? The, consumer something or other panel to request a price increase, but they've never been denied a price increase. Never. Every time they ask for it, they get it. It's signed off on. Sure, go ahead, go rape them some more. Have at it. Fucking annoys me. But if they're going to be treated, if they're going to be given the special privileges of a public utility, they need to operate and act like a public utility. Anyway. That's that one.
Mm-hmm. That was that for sure.
That I'm done with.
Have you heard of an app or a service or whatever called Paribus, Paribus.
I saw something about that the other day. Remind me.
You're going to hate it. I'm just going to tell you, you're going to hate it. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear how
Okay.
much you hate it. I don't want to know that it's taken over my life. Um, you sign up for it. You give it access to, well, I gave it access to my Amazon login, and it monitors your purchases,
You
and
told me
then
about this.
if what you bought, if the price is reduced in a certain amount of time, it goes and gets you your money, like the difference. It price matches for you.
And does it work?
Well, it does work, and ask me how I know.
How do
Go
you
on,
know?
go on, ask me. I know because do
Hey,
you
Danny.
remember? Yes.
Danny,
Yes,
how do you
Alex.
know it works?
I know it works because do you remember mentioning to me that the Apple Watch was on sale at Best Buy over the weekend?
Yes, even though it wasn't.
Well, it was. You were just ahead of
Okay.
yourself. It went on sale on the 2nd, and I bought it on the 1st.
Okay, good. And
So
did you get the difference back?
Paribus went and snatched back the difference for me. I knew
Okay,
nothing
so it
about
works.
it.
So it works with Best Buy. It works with Amazon.
Yes.
Dude,
Apparently, I had signed up for it through Best Buy. I don't know how it knew my Best Buy stuff. I do
is
not know.
this an app or is this something you go to their website?
I think there is an app on the
You are still
Apple.
sending me iMessages, by the way, from your email address rather than your phone number.
Yeah, I did that
On
while I was on the
purpose.
computer.
Oh, well,
The
yeah. Now, the same thing applies on the computer, by the way. Go to settings or system preferences, messages, and
I don't see
change your
messages in there. I've been trying to do that shit all day.
under preferences. It's in there. No, it's under accounts. It's under you. Go to preferences,
All right, hang on,
accounts,
hang on, hang on.
iMessage, and you can change your sent from caller ID thing there.
Accounts.
See, look at me. I'm being the tech guy.
Right?
Holy shit.
Internet accounts. I've got iCloud, but when I go to iCloud, I don't have a message thing.
No, go to damn it. I'm gonna pull up my Mac,
We can
which
do
I
this
can do
later.
from here. Oh, actually, we're back on in about 20 seconds, so you can tell people about Paribus.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But
Because
yeah,
I want to get in on this.
I assumed you would
Oh
hate
no,
it
we're not.
because
Kenny Loggins is gonna play first.
nice.
So
I assumed you would hate Paribus because you have to give it. Well, and here's the other thing is of course it takes like some percentage of the money it gets back for you.
okay.
Um, but of course it does. Um, but it's
So
free money.
how much of a saving did you get?
Well, that one it didn't. I don't know why it didn't hit me. It might be like a freebie the first couple times or something, but I think it knocks like it takes 20%.
Okay.
Um,
My Mac is offline.
that's weird. I'm bad luck, dude, I'm telling you. Um, and here's the other thing. For Amazon, it wanted access to like a credit card or some kind of my payment method so that it could
Yeah,
just
so it can
easily,
refund you.
which I didn't give it that because I
Oh, okay.
figured you would yell at me for, I mean, because that's just ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
so how did you get your refund?
for my Best Buy, it just refunded it back to how I paid for it. That
Okay.
just went straight through. Like it sent an email to Best Buy and said, "Hi, my name is Daniel Munoz, blah, blah, blah." So Best Buy emailed me back and said, "Hi, thanks for contacting us." And I'm like, wait, what just happened? Because I didn't know they had emailed them on my behalf. So
Interesting.
yeah. So that was a little weird.
That's brilliant. I wonder if it works the other way. If the price goes up, they take more money from you.
I think not.
You buy it on sale, and then the next day Paribus says, "Hey, we just took $50."
It's like craps. No, doesn't work that way. Um,
All
okay,
right, well, let's
this
talk about that after Kenny logins because I like that, and I'm going to go to their website and Parabus.
yeah. Keith is watching us on the YouTubes.
Oh, I should send him the link. Actually, I'm going
Oh
to.
yeah.
Well, he can hear. I was about to say, tell Keith. I'll send him the link.
I can I can throw it up on the Facebook.
I'm about to do it. I forgot I sent it to you in Messenger, didn't I? Instead of in iMessage, sorry, instead of
Oh, oops, that's not it.
where are we at? There it is. I'll send him the link if he wants to join, he can.
Yes.
There we go. Tell Keith I sent the link.
Hey, Keith, Al just sent the link. What's really sad is how many conversations we've actually had like that. Okay, so the smallness of this watch is starting to freak me out a little.
Now, are you going to go on Amazon and order some third-party bands? We'll talk about your watch. People, the listening public need to know that you bought an Apple Watch.
Well, I didn't actually buy it.
What do you mean?
I didn't buy
Keith.
it. Hi, Keith.
Hey, Danielle, could you tell Alex that I got the link?
Alex, Keith got the link, and he has joined me in the Hangout.
Okay, brilliant. I'll see him in a minute then.
Keith, Alex says he'll see you in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty dumb, right? I seriously was about to tell you, hey, tell Keith I'll send him the link, and he's there listening. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, that did happen.
Fucking tech show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. I wonder why my Mac's offline. All right, we're going. Here's my bumper music. We're going back on. All right, we're back. Keith has joined us in the Hangout. Good evening, Keith. No, he didn't. He took off again.
What?
There he is.
Damn
hey, Keith.
Yeah, apparently my Hangout just died on my phone, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, good. So Danny, tell everyone listening what you were talking about during the break.
I have discovered an app called Paribus, Paribus.
Oh, Pari.
Yes. You know what? Don't join. Let me send you, Alex, let me send you an invitation so then I get credit for you joining.
Oh, okay.
That's how it works, see? So you join it and you give it, somehow you have to add your accounts and the like, and it tracks your purchases and it'll monitor your purchases for a certain amount of time after you've made the purchase. And if the price of what you buy goes down, it'll go back to the merchant and get you the difference in price back.
So it'll actually get you a refund.
Correct.
It looks. I'm sorry.
I just got my Apple Watch over the weekend, and the day after I bought it, as is my luck, it went down in price by $50. Well, nice. I bought it from Best Buy online, and so Paribus went to Best Buy and fetched me back $50.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, everybody, Danielle now has an iPhone and an Apple Watch.
I do.
I was sending her little sketches from my watch earlier.
And your little heartbeat, that was kind of weird.
That's right. Yeah, you can send a heartbeat. I don't know why, but it just does.
Yeah.
So yeah, Paribus. It supports Macy's, Target, Newegg, Bonobus. Don't know what that is.
No idea.
Amazon, J.Crew, Sephora, however you say it.
Sephora.
Piperline, Banana Republic, Athleta. Again, don't know that.
That's
Old Navy, Best Buy,
wear.
Bloomingdale's, Office Depot, Nordstrom, Walmart, Zappos.com. Love a bit of Zappos. The Gap, and Staples. So yeah, it will monitor all of your accounts at those different retailers, and if you buy something now, do we know what the time limit is? Is it
I think
3 days, a week?
It's based on the retailer. So I know that Amazon will price match for 30 days. Okay. So I believe it'll monitor for 30 days. I think unless you're one of their gold members or whatever they call them at Best Buy, I think Best Buy's only 10 or 14 days that they'll price match.
Okay, I am a gold rewards person at Best Buy, so I actually get 60 days for returns. Yeah. Very cool.
So it doesn't price match comparative retailers.
Correct.
So, if Walmart sells it cheaper than Amazon, you're not going to get a...
Right, good point. It doesn't actually price match. You're right. It just watches, and if the price goes down, it goes back and gets you the difference between what you pay and the reduced price.
Here's something I'd like to find out. Because Best Buy... Best Buy does price match, right? They price match Amazon. I go into
Right.
Best Buy all the time, pull up an item on Amazon, say price
Yep.
match this, and they do it.
Yep.
So I wonder if you buy something like that, and then it still goes down on Best Buy's price, whether they still get the refund. I wonder if it applies to something you purchased, at a discounted rate already. I imagine it would.
If what now?
All right, let me spell this out for you.
Yeah, do that again. Sorry.
I go to Best Buy,
Mhm.
and let's say I'm going to buy an Apple Watch,
Okay.
and Best Buy's price is $299, but Amazon's price is $250.
Okay.
And so I tell Best Buy, hey, price match this, give it to me for $250, and they say sure.
Okay.
Well, then a week later, Best Buy dropped their price to $200. I wonder if I still get that extra
Yeah.
$50 back, or whether it doesn't apply, because you know how they say doesn't apply to
Oh.
promotions or things like that. I wonder if it would still work in that case.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'll have to test that theory out next time. I'm going to join this, and because that's free money. So why not? So yeah, Paribus, Paribus. I will await an invitation from Danielle.
Yes, I will do that soon.
Sign up and see how that goes.
Yeah, I don't know where I found it. I had done it on the computer, so I don't know how I came across it, but I'm pretty excited about that. They got me $50.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Here's a weird story from earlier today. Dish Network, the satellite TV people, they are getting into the phone repair business. They announced this earlier today. You don't have to be a Dish subscriber. They'll do this for anybody. They will send a technician to your house to repair your phone for a fee, obviously. Right now it's primarily, in fact, it is just iPhones right now, but they say they're going to expand to other devices in the near future. It's currently the 5, 5C, 5S, 6, and 6 Plus. No 6Ss. I guess they don't have access to screens. Prices start at $75. They will come to you and they will replace your screen for you.
That's
How
awesome.
cool is that? Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah. I don't know what made them want to get into this business. Well, I assume they see a viable source of income coming from it. And if prices begin at $75, I assume that means the price to replace the screen on an iPhone 5 will be $75. Now, the screen on my 5C needs replacing, and if it is $75, that's actually cheaper than Apple charged to buy by, not by much, by like $30. So I may just test this out, give Dish Network a call. Now, I guarantee you get the hard sell when you're in there. Oh, you should sign up for our satellite TV services. And I'm not opposed to Dish. I loved them when I had them, but then some trees grew and I lost line of sight, and they weren't my trees, so I couldn't just cut them down.
You know what that might do? That makes you a customer, so then they can market to you. You know what I mean? Like, then they can, like, mail you stuff and call you and the like.
Oh, yeah. Bonus!
See?
Yeah. That's a good point. Maybe I'll just go to Apple and get the screen replaced.
I mean, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that I just thought of that because you said that, of course, they're going to do the hard sell. Well, that opens up that, because now you're a customer. Well,
now I'm screwed. Basically, what you're saying is absolutely true. Then I would be screwed. I would be, but having said that, I was a Dish customer once before, and I don't receive any kind of junk or nonsense from them now.
Not like you're breaking rocks. You just got to throw shit away and hang up the phone. It ain't hard.
Yep. So apparently the FTC has quietly stepped up its investigation into Android over fears that Google is exploiting its position in the smartphone market to create a monopoly. What do we think of that? Anything?
What? I don't know anything about it. Like what's the deal?
I guess they're investigating them for monopoly practices, just like they did with Microsoft. Because they're the number one player, I guess they figure they're using unfair practices to keep their market share. According to the journal, the FTC's been meeting with companies to hear concerns about how Android's market share is being used and possibly misused against others. The initial probe began last year, and the timing now coincides with the antitrust charges recently filed against Google in the EU. The FTC is reportedly looking into similar complaints, such as whether Google is disadvantaging non-Google services on its operating system, and U.S. regulators hope to mine the EU case for more information. So, I mean, you use Android, Danny, or you have until recently.
Yes.
Do you feel, but you used a Samsung device, right?
I did,
And
yes.
Samsung devices are the best-selling Android devices on the market. Samsung among Android have the largest market share. Do you feel that using your phone that Google services pushed out or were unfair to the Samsung services? I would prefer myself to use the Google services themselves and not have all of the Samsung junk.
Yeah, I mean, I use Gmail and Google Photo. I mean, I use Google services, so well, you know me though. I'm just a sucker.
Yeah. Keith?
I mean,
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of feedback from your microphone.
Oh, sorry.
I can't even see you. Where are you?
I know.
I have no idea. I mean,
Okay,
this is
he disappeared. There he is.
Yeah, this is on my phone, so I don't know what's...
Okay, I think what was happening is it was laying down and the speaker was feeding straight back into the microphone.
Oh, may have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, me personally, I'm not a fan of the Samsung Android devices because of all the bloatware they put on it. You know, you end up with 3 different email clients and, options. You go to send a text message and something pops up and says, which of these 15 applications do you want to use to send a text message?
Yeah.
That's why I would buy a Google Nexus phone.
Yeah.
I would buy one that just has Google services, but apparently I guess the FTC seemed to think that Google are misusing their power in the market and disadvantaging what's that word?
Disadvantaging?
Thank you. I'm sure I said it right. I don't know. It
Yeah.
sounded weird to me. And well, let's say putting third parties at a disadvantage. I've never experienced that on a Samsung
because
phone.
Google, I just thought the Google services were slicker. I thought they were better, easier to use. I used, Gmail, Google Photos, Google Drive. I used sort of that whole suite. So
yeah, they're quicker, they're more streamlined, they're easier to use. Everything about them is better than the bloatware the manufacturer or the carrier puts on them.
Right, and I used them across all of my devices. So I used them across Android and Apple devices.
Yeah.
So
and so do I. On my iPhone, I use Gmail. I use Google Photos. I use the Google app, which has Google Now and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Any ideas on who's bringing about this investigation?
Well, it started. The EU have been going after Google for quite a while now, and they're bringing antitrust cases against Google. And apparently the US FTC is just going to try to piggyback on that. This is a money grab, is what this is. They're looking for a payout, just like they did with Microsoft.
Who's they?
The government, the US government. They're looking for a payout from Google. Yeah, just like they did with Microsoft. When they hit Microsoft with that, what was it, $300 billion antitrust fine?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money to the government. They'd love to get their greedy little paws into that.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, I mean, and it strikes me as kind of the same thing. Like they're doing a better job, so people are going to me. That's why I went to their services, is because they did a better job.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, that's why I went from a Samsung to a Google Nexus.
Yeah, to get rid of all the bloatware and the junk.
Yeah, and the Samsung batteries sucked, but apart from that, I wanted rid of everything, and I wanted to be able to have the latest Google operating system without having to wait for my provider to provide it.
Right.
Yep. All right, well, let's move on to something else. Is everybody familiar with the FISA court, the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court?
Yes.
The secret court that issues surveillance warrants?
Yes.
And people have for a long time been saying it's a pushover and there's no scrutiny, there's no oversight, and you can get whatever you want from this court regardless of your burden of proof or the evidence you provide.
I did not
Turns
know
out
that.
in 2015, they did not deny a single surveillance request order. They approved every single one. Every single one.
Oh
Can
my
you believe
gosh.
that? A secret court that nobody is allowed access to, nobody is allowed to monitor the hearings or the proceedings, and they did not reject a single fucking one.
Wow.
And do the judges get voted for?
No, they're nominated. They're picked to sit on this court
Secretly.
Yeah, that was a facetious question.
Okay, yeah, secretly, by the way. Yeah, nobody knows who the judges are on this court. This is crazy. Yeah, did not.
I've heard about it.
Yeah, didn't reject a single request.
Hey, let's talk about WhatsApp in Brazil. Do we have? How long are we till break? Do we have a couple minutes?
We got 4 minutes.
Okay, so this judge in Brazil who has been just hammering WhatsApp, trying to get rid of them, Judge Montalvano in Brazil, yesterday handed down a ruling banning WhatsApp yet again. He said that the top 5 cellular service providers in Brazil were not allowed, like they had to block WhatsApp because of their end-to-end encryption. The Brazilian government was trying to get, it's speculated that they're trying to get their hands on some chat records that are thought to be part of a drug investigation.
Yeah, that's what's I'm reading this. The CNN are reporting that they blocked it for failing to turn over data as part of an ongoing drug trafficking investigation.
Right.
So yeah, this all ties back into that encryption argument again.
Well, according to
and at about 2 p.m. At about 2 p.m. the app ceased to function.
Yeah, 75% of the country's mobile subscribers. The verbiage was that WhatsApp reaches over 75% of the country's mobile subscribers. From Reuters, I think is where I got that. It was. WhatsApp was banned yesterday, and it was back today, so it lasted for a day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
I was going to say, I don't know how they do things in Brazil. Obviously, that wouldn't happen here. It wouldn't fly.
Right.
Apparently, it didn't fly in Brazil.
But listen, so this isn't the first time this has happened. The same judge, back in December, the same judge ordered the service shut down for 48 hours. But that one only lasted 12 hours before being overturned. Same guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then in March, Brazilian authorities, this one's awesome, tried to make WhatsApp and Facebook relinquish user data by arresting Facebook's Latin American VP, Diego Dazodin. But he was released a day later when another judge declared that it was unlawful coercion. So they were trying to get them to release information by arresting their vice president.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, just harassing the shit out of these guys.
I mean, and that's big time harassment too.
Yeah.
But then they have tons of money and good lawyers that like the CEO of Facebook or whoever he was down there.
Right.
Yeah, imagine if that was here. Now, what's his knob? Who's the guy? Who's the Facebook kid? Fucking Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
He said, I believe it was last week or the week before, that going forward, privacy is going to be Facebook's #1 concern, and that they're going to encrypt everybody's data from, in the near future, I guess, from that point on. So that will be another legal fight for the government, I guess.
Interesting.
because they get data requests from they give data requests to Facebook all the time.
Really?
And I think, yeah, oh yeah. And I think Facebook are sick of it, and they've said enough is enough, and we're just going to encrypt everything, and then if you want the data, you can unlock it yourself. And this is what every private company should say. You're the law enforcement guys. You can do the work.
Apparently, law enforcement get hundreds of thousands of requests for information. They have warrants for this and warrants for that for Facebook accounts. So yeah, it happens all the time.
Yeah, because right now it's a very easy phishing expedition for them. And once,
and then a lot of times it's a missing child or someone like that. They'll get hundreds of thousands of them.
Yep.
Sometimes they're innocuous, but sometimes they're
right
phishing expeditions. And how's Facebook to decide?
Right.
Well, they won't in the future. Facebook will say, here's encrypted data. All right, we have a break. We'll be back in a few.
Breaking.
All right, something funky there we go. Something weird just happened there. Yeah, man, Brazil, we lock you up.
Right? Imagine what a Brazilian jail looks like. I mean, I know what a Brazilian wax is like, and that's voluntary. I can imagine what Brazilian jail is like. I'm just saying. That can't be pleasant.
Imagine a Brazilian wax in a Brazilian jail.
No, sir, no. Mm-mm. So did you guys see Apple dominates Time's list of the top 50 influential gadgets?
I sure did.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that on my list. We were going to talk about that.
Okay, good. I was hoping you would talk about it because I'm not allowed to talk about lists.
We have no idea what you just said there, brother. Your signal broke up completely.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Pamela is laughing hysterically at Danielle's Brazilian wax comment.
Oh.
Well, anyway. Leave that where it is.
I think she knew where you were headed there.
Hey, she hangs out with weirdos. She's a weirdo.
I mean, a Brazilian wax is perfectly normal. It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Well, I'm not saying it's weird. I'm just saying this shit hurts.
I'm going to take your word for it. It looks like it hurts. And
Oh, come on, Keith. You never went for a sack cracking back?
No! Never once.
Never.
We'll tune up for springtime.
I'm making him an appointment for next weekend.
There you go.
We're gonna get together.
Go on Facebook Live with that.
We're gonna get together.
I mean, not the probably not the sack and crack part, but
just the facial expressions.
Yeah.
Just the audio.
Just set the phone up to get his face and the audio. Yeah. Yeah. But it's not even. No, you go like this.
I'll make it nice for you.
$20 more. Wow, that got racist.
Better for you.
So wrong.
Who was that? That was that Angela. What's her name?
That was so funny. Your finger go like this.
Yeah, your finger go like this.
God, y'all.
No, my finger didn't go like this before I came here.
You're so pretty.
What did she say? You're so pretty.
Like chili dog.
I can just imagine that while Keith's in the stirrups getting his fucking nuts waxed. You're so pretty.
Yes.
Why? You're so pretty. Why you go like this?
And so now we lose all the YouTube people.
That's right.
Oh, no, actually, unfortunately, the number's going up. It's actually worse.
Oh, I got a great story for cord cutters. I'll get into that in a little bit. Yeah. Well, it's not great. I've got a perfectly average story for cord cutters coming up.
What's
later.
cord cutters?
People that cut the cord from their cable TV provider or satellite TV.
Oh, okay.
They just use the internet now to watch telly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm real close.
Yeah, it's not a great story at all, to be honest.
Okay.
It's
well, you said
I shouldn't have hyped it up. I shouldn't have. I should have just said, "Oh, I have a story. I have a story for cord cutters."
Yeah.
But it is quite good. No, it's not. It's oh god, it's awful.
It's rubbish.
I'm not even going to do the story now.
Bullocks.
Yeah, no, just leave it. Just bring it up next week and just don't hype it at all.
I am going to do it.
Like Ricky Gervais, oh, it's great in Kansas City. Everywhere else, it's rubbish.
Yeah.
So you should just say, I'm just not rubbish as I used to be.
I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos of Milo Yiannopoulos.
Yeah.
Do you know who that is? Have you seen him?
No.
He's this British kid. Well, he's not a kid. He's like 25 or 26. He's a gay conservative personality. We'll say.
Yeah.
I guess he has a podcast and he has a show in England, and he's on a tour around the U.S. colleges right now, talking about how progressive Democrats are destroying America, and he calls it the I can't remember what he calls it, the dangerous faggot tour or something like that, because he went to a university a few weeks back, and a week after he left, they had to provide counseling sessions to some of the delicate little flowers that were still so upset that he'd been to the college and offended them. Can you believe that?
Yes. Yeah, I can.
That shit? It's pathetic what goes on with these kids these days.
It really is.
Oh, some of these people sicken me. Now, it's a very small minority, I'll tell you, of these little social justice warriors. It's a very small minority, and most of the kids in these audiences, if you go and watch the speeches and the debates and stuff, it's very respectful, good questions, and a good debate. But then these activists get in there and just start yelling and screaming, and they're accusing the kid. He says, I'm a gay. He says, I'm a gay man that loves black dick, and you're sat there calling me a racist homophobe. And they literally are. They're yelling at him. He's a racist and he's a homophobe and shit like that, because his point of view just it damages them so much, and they can't bear to hear what he has to say, and they end up having counseling sessions provided to them by the university for free. Yeah. Oh God, it's absolutely pathetic what's happening to our higher education system.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Stand by.
What the hell is he doing?
I'll tell you what he's doing. He's logged in twice.
Switching.
You've logged in twice, Keith, and now you're just in a feedback loop.
Hold on. Stand by. Stand by. Stand down. There we go.
Oh, we're back on. So we're having technical difficulties in the Hangout. Keith is now logged in twice, and he's in a constant feedback loop, which is amazing. What were we going to talk about, Dad?
Well, you had hyped up your story for cord
May
cutter.
as well go for it. I'm going for it.
Do it.
I'm
Go
going for it.
Do
It's
it.
not as good as I may have made it out to be. So anyway, cord cutters. If you don't want to pay for cable TV or satellite TV, you have a new option for. Now this was one segment of the market that was seriously lacking, was a DVR for over-the-air television, right?
Right.
put up your high def antenna, get your programming, and your options for DVRs were seriously limited. TiVo have one. It's called the Romeo. And they've recently, this week, they've announced that they've increased the storage price to storage size to 1 terabyte. It has 4 tuners, so it can record 4 channels at one time. How that works, by the way, with a high-def antenna, I'm not sure. Whether you have to have 4 antennas plugged in, I don't really know. But they've also eliminated the $15 monthly fee that came with it. So now they're just going to sell the device for $3.99 outright, no monthly fees, and you now have a 4-channel DVR that will record scheduled recording of all your over-the-air programming. This is a brilliant idea. This is the only reason I don't have a high-def antenna for over-the-air programming, local programming, is because I'm never there to watch TV. But now I could buy one of these and just record my programs and do it that way. This is a brilliant idea for anyone that's cut the cord. And it'll pay for itself. Before it was $150, but it was still $15 a month, right? Well, now it's $400, but you eliminate that $15 a month. So you save $180 a year right there. It'll pay for itself in a couple of years, 2-3 years.
That's pretty cool. Sorry, I
wow, literally 0 people were excited by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I'm not.
Well, you all have your cable TV services and whatnot, though. So this might be exciting to people who have cut the cord, and want to watch The Big Bang Theory, but don't want to be home to do it.
Yeah, no, that actually is really cool.
Yep.
Sorry,
It wasn't. That was a shit story.
It really wasn't a bad story. It was,
Let's move on to a list.
Yes.
All right, let's read a list to the listeners.
Something.
Let's not read a list, but let's talk about.
Let's talk about a list.
Yeah. So
Do you
Time
have
Magazine
list to talk about?
Yeah. So Time Magazine has published its list of the 50 most influential gadgets of all time, and surprise, surprise, the iPhone is at the top of the list. Which it doesn't surprise me in the least bit. It shook up the entire cell phone industry. In fact, it shook up most of the computer industry, because how many people now do you know that use a phone or a tablet instead of their PC? Holy shit, dead air.
Was that not rhetorical?
I'm thinking 3.
Answered that question. That was a question to everybody.
3.
I assume that was rhetorical.
I use a tablet and a phone exclusively. I have my media server at the house, which, by the way, is offline for some reason right now. So I'll have to go home and figure out what's going on there. But yeah, iPhone at the top of the list. I'm not going to read the list, but there was other stuff like the Sony Walkman and the IBM Scalextric typewriter. Don't know what that is. And there were some other Apple products, the iPad, the iPod, and the original Macintosh were on the list as well. What would you, if you were to pick, let's now exclude the iPhone. Don't count the iPhone. What would you consider the most influential tech product, I guess, ever?
What is it? Well, what are we considering tech? Like, does a telephone count? Like an actual?
Whatever you want.
So I would say Commodore came out with a lot of tech products that were huge. I mean, huge advancements. Also Atari.
Yep. And Clive Sinclair with the Spectrum.
Yep. So I'm thinking the Commodore Super Pet, the Atari gaming system.
Mm-hmm.
Those were massive.
I'm going to say 2 things: the microwave oven.
Yes.
And the electric can opener.
Okay.
I'll give you a microwave oven for sure.
The electric can opener is just a personal thing, because I hate the butterfly things and then the pokey ones and the turny bits. But yeah, the microwave I think was a huge. I mean, and I'm not going to say it was to the benefit of society, but as society was changing, when the microwave came out, society was changing to where more and more two-parent households were both having to go to work in order to make
Right.
ends meet, and it was making it more and more difficult and chewing up so much time in the house. It was hard to keep up, and the microwave came in and solved an actual legitimate problem.
It made making hot dogs a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I could open my can of beans with my electric tin opener, slap it in the microwave, well, not in the can, obviously, but put it into a bowl, slap it in the microwave, and 60 seconds later, ding!
Bob's your uncle. You got dinner.
Fucking baked beans.
Yep.
Love it. My baked bean warming machine. That's all it was. Of course, the automobile, the car.
Right.
That transformed everything. So I think the microwave. Danielle, what did you say?
Well, I was going back to like telephone, like old school. I was also thinking car.
Yeah. And of course your cat or your headphones.
Right. Yeah. I was also thinking those little Tamagotchi things, those pocket pets. Those were huge, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, the ability to store food.
The refrigerator.
Yeah, I mean any of that stuff, either refrigerate or freeze. I mean, if we're going back to car, that also.
All right, now we're just doing a list.
Gigantic. Well, because we enjoy lists.
Yeah, now we are literally doing a list.
Right. Because it's almost as interesting, but not quite as the antenna / video recorder that you decided to enlighten us with. So.
Whatever.
Just saying. Twitter.
Whatever. It's the TiVo Romeo. It's the TiVo Romeo, and it's awesome.
Twitter stock's falling.
Is it really?
Mm-hmm.
That'll rebound when the football season picks back up and they get games.
But for right now, it is lower than ever. I think it's $13.99 right now.
Yeah, well, their growth is pretty much stagnated. They're not attracting the number of new users they need to. That's one of the reasons they made this deal with the NFL to stream Thursday night games. And the fact that their demographic is the exact demographic that the NFL are after, I think that's going to make a huge difference to Twitter. We're just going to have to wait for football season to pick up to see those benefits come over. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, depending on who you read, either Twitter's fixing to die because in January there was a mass exodus, I guess, of executives and their stocks are falling, or Twitter could hang on and last for 100 years because as of right now they have $3 billion in cash reserves.
Yeah,
so,
Twitter's going on forever. Don't you worry about Twitter.
They're either fixing to die or they're going to be around forever.
Do either of you guys
That's my prediction.
use Twitter?
I use Twitter every day. Every single day.
I haven't used it in a year. I mean, I might go on it and occasionally
I'm on there all the time.
Look at it. But no.
Yeah, it's the place. It's my number one social network is Twitter.
Oh no!
It's absolutely fantastic.
Not
and it's
for
great.
Me.
It's great as a source of news. It's great as a way to get customer service from companies. It's great as a way to interact with friends.
I will give you that. I've gotten customer service.
Yeah, it's a fantastic way to protest. Peaceably gather and protest things. Yeah. Twitter is absolutely amazing. I'll tell you who else is
my main complaint source.
Yeah, you wouldn't know it, but Facebook is facing some problems as well. Now, from their revenues, you wouldn't know it because they just announced record revenues. But apparently, the problem they're facing is the number of unique shares has dropped by 20% over the last year. They attribute this to people valuing their privacy more and taking a step back, and they're not sharing as much personal, individual content as they used to. And Facebook see this, maybe not this quarter, but they think in the near future it's going to actually start to hurt them. So they have it goes hand in hand with their promise to take privacy more seriously and make sure that anything you post, is only available to the people you want it to be available to, so to speak. So I don't know. We'll see. So Facebook and Twitter may be looking at a bit of hard times coming up, but Facebook's never going to last forever, right? Oh, I think we lost Danny. And maybe Keith. I may be here.
No, I'm still here.
Okay. Daniel might be there, or I don't know. I kind of see. Okay.
Can you hear me? My internet's acting funny.
Okay. I mean, Facebook isn't going to be around for. I'm surprised Facebook has lasted as long as it has, and that because the younger demographic on Facebook are a fickle bunch. They were on the MySpace, then they hopped over to the Facebook, and now apparently Snapchat is the big deal. And at one time it was Instagram. But from what I understand, Snapchat is currently experiencing the biggest growth of social networks, and that's where if you're in that young, not young, I guess under 30 age group, that's where you're going to be right now, is on the Snapchat. I have a Snapchat. I rarely use it.
Yeah, was it you guys I was talking to the other day? It might have been at work about demographics of different social media. Did we talk about that?
We talked about it on the show, I think.
Okay. I couldn't remember if it was here or it's something we would argue about at work too. But yeah, Snapchat, like college age kids.
Yeah.
If you want to keep up with a college age person, you need to follow them on Snapchat.
Get on the Snapchat. Look at, I guess dick pics. I don't know. I'm not sure what they're posting on Snapchat these days. I like Twitter and I like Instagram way better than Facebook.
What if they're women?
Well, I guess it'll be I don't know, boobs. I guess I don't know. I don't know what they're posting on. I have no idea what they're posting on the Snapchat these days.
Actually, there's a lot of people that just post their day-to-day activities on
like
Snapchat.
just what they're doing.
Really?
And it's moderately interesting.
Yeah, it's like a momentary it is moderately interesting, but it's like a momentary grab of their lives. So even if it's not interesting, it's only boring for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
Like, have you ever heard of Jenna Marbles? Jenna Marbles?
Yeah.
No.
She's a YouTuber, and she has these hilarious YouTube videos.
Okay.
So I decided to follow her on Snapchat. The most boring stuff I've ever seen. I mean, obviously her YouTube videos are hilarious, but her Snapchat is like the most mundane stuff.
I've never even heard of this person. Yeah, I use Twitter every day. I use Instagram every day. I'm on Facebook, obviously, because I mean these days you have to be. I do like the new Facebook Live feature where you can go live on video to Facebook. I do like that.
That's kind of cool.
Although I can promise you, other people hate that. I bet they find it really annoying, right? I bet they do, because it's kind of intrusive. Everyone on your friends list gets an
notification like any other notification.
Yeah,
you could choose to watch it or not watch it.
True. Yeah, I don't know. I hope Twitter sticks around. I really do, because I think it's. It's the only. Where else can you go and get live blow-by-blow accounts of events as they're happening in real time?
Right.
Nowhere. True. The media can't keep up with that. The media aren't that fast-paced. It's amazing. If a riot breaks out in Angola, I can watch it as it happens on Twitter.
Right.
Or follow.
It was proven when they caught Osama bin Laden.
Yeah.
A Twitter user, unbeknownst to himself, had logged the first instance of that capture.
Yeah, as the helicopters flew in.
Yeah.
Some kid on Twitter was announcing it to the world.
That was pretty cool.
Yep, and then there were blow-by-blows occurring on Twitter live as it happened. Yeah, Twitter is absolutely amazing. If you don't use Twitter, please go sign up, get on Twitter, utilize it. It's a wonderful resource.
Just use it sparingly, because you can follow 100,000 people, and all of a sudden it becomes unmanageable.
Very true. That is very true. I would even, me personally, I would even pay a monthly fee to use Twitter. That's how much I like it and how much I use it. All right, we got a break coming up. When we get back, I have a message from Prince from Beyond the Grave.
Aww.
Aww.
From Chanhassen?
From what?
That's where he lived, Chanhassen, Minnesota.
Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to...
You going to go with no on that?
No, I know. I'm going to go do something. I'll be back. You guys can carry the conversation for a minute.
All right, Al, I'm gonna hang up and take off. So.
Oh, are you?
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, brother.
Are you afraid he's gonna upset me?
No.
Thanks for logging in. We'll talk to you.
Right.
Talk to you next week.
You.
Bye. Love you. Bye.
I'll be back in a minute, Dan.
Okay.
Go grab yourself a beer.
Okay. Yeah, I will. Sister, where's your brother?
Oh, I do this every time.
You stay here.
Yep. We're on YouTube, remember? DJ Scotty, need to slim down a little there, brother. Oh, what I got here. Time. I think we'll wrap this up at 9 tonight.
Do what?
Fair enough. Well, I think we'll wrap this one up at 9 tonight.
Okay.
I know I said that last week and we ended up going to like 9:45, but
that did happen actually.
Yeah.
I have a couple stories.
Okay.
Are we on? Are we?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
No. Not yet.
Oh, that one we already talked about.
Yeah, I have some other stuff, but nothing super exciting. Although, again, a message from Beyond the Grave.
That's pretty exciting.
From Prince. Ted, oh shit! Okay. Ted Cruz just pulled out of the race. According to a message I just got. Now I haven't what?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
Now I haven't. This is just a message I've received, so I can't confirm it. But let me see if I can verify this real quick. Yep, Cruz drops out of the presidential race. So now it's we're left with Donald Trump and Rubio's still on the ballot, even though he suspended his campaign. And
oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Basic?
And John Closing Time Kasich.
Dude.
Well, I mean, that's it. I mean, Trump is now the nominee. Ted Cruz isn't even going to the convention. So even if it's a contested convention,
what the fuck is the contest? Like, what's?
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Now it has to go to Trump. Now it has to. There's no way that Kasich or Rubio, with the minimal number of electoral votes they have, there's no way that any of these delegates can pledge to them. They have to now pledge to Trump. Shit.
Oh my God.
That's it. It's going to be now. Bernie has said he's going to go all the way to their convention. I guess we'll see what happens there, but it looks like it's going to be Trump Clinton. Now, I will say this, and I sent Mike, military Mike, a message about this earlier, because I went to Donald Trump's website because they finally posted his position papers.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to Mike, if Trump would just read his position papers and do nothing else, he would be a very appealing candidate. If he would stop trying to talk to people and go off the cuff, if he would just read his positions, he would be an appealing candidate to Republicans. Because when his position, some of his positions, once they're spelled out, are actually good conservative free market positions, and that's what he should be doing. Well, I can't say that. I can't say that's what he should be doing, because apparently what he's doing works. You know, what he's doing has been successful. So I don't run campaigns, so obviously don't listen to me.
Yeah, no, like, are we the ones that are wrong?
Right. I mean, we could be.
You know what
right?
I mean? Like,
right. I mean, I've said it before, and I say it again. As a more libertarian type of guy, I should love Donald Trump. I really should like him, and I should want him to win.
But he's Archie Bunker.
Right, he is. He fucking is. But based on his position papers, that reinforces that sentiment in me even more. I should really like this guy. But it's when he's out in public and opens his mouth, that's when I'm thinking, oh my God, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Yeah. I think the reason he doesn't, obviously these policy papers were they weren't written by Trump, right? They're written by professionals who craft the message and put them up on his website. And I don't think for one second that Trump could ever articulate these policies in public anyway. So maybe that's why he keeps away from it. Maybe that's why he never discusses policy. Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
how can we have a president that never discusses policy? How's that even an option?
I don't know.
That's his job.
I mean, how the hell are we going to have Donald Trump as president? And we could. What if we are wrong? What if I'm wrong and that he walks away with this damn thing? And it's and all the polls are wrong, and the polls are just being manipulated by the media, to make us think he's going to get absolutely, destroyed. And it turns out he wins a massive landslide, and then turns into this articulate, presidential statesman. God Almighty. This is the weirdest political season I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
It really is.
And I've seen raving Lord Such run for prime minister. Yeah. I've seen a man called raving Lord Such.
Is that for real?
Representing the monster raving lunatic. We're back on air. I'm going to talk about this. We're talking about Ted Cruz. Thank you, Denise, by the way. Ted Cruz has pulled out of the presidential race. Which means that it's definitely Trump now, because even if it goes to the convention, Trump is so far ahead. There's no way that Kasich could pull out a contested vote at the convention. So it's Trump 100% now. And I was telling Danielle, I sent a message earlier to Mike, and because I was on Trump's website, and the campaign posted Trump posted his policy papers. And if you read his policy papers, he comes across as a very attractive candidate for Republicans, especially so for people like me who are more libertarian leaning. The problem with Trump is I don't think he's able to articulate those policy positions, publicly in a speech, for example. So he comes across as just this raving buffoon that knows nothing. If he could just take a piece of paper with his positions on it and read that, he'd be great. But then I was saying to Danielle, I said, but he shouldn't listen to me, I guess, because what he's been doing so far has been working. And Danielle said, maybe it's us. Are we the ones that are wrong? And
I mean, we've been wrong all along. Like
I've been wrong every step of the way about this guy.
Every step of the way. About everybody. Like Rubio was our guy. Yep. We were completely wrong.
Yep.
Couldn't have been more wrong.
Every step of the way. I would have sworn Cruz would have gone all the way to the convention, but no, he drops out of the race this evening. This is, and I was saying, this is the craziest election season I've ever seen. And I have seen a man named Raving Lord Such as a member of the monster raving loony party run for prime minister in England. And I thought that was more normal than this.
Well, what is that? I don't even know what that's about. What are you talking about? Is that for real?
Yeah, that's genuine. Raving Lord Such and the Monster Raving Loony Party. They actually had two MPs elected to the House of Commons.
Wow.
Yeah, the Monster Raving Loony Party.
That's kind of awesome. Yeah, that's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So, I mean, I don't know what to say. It's Donald Trump now. And I did say, I have said I've said to people, and I think I've said it on the show, once he's the nominee, I'll get behind him.
You'll support him.
I'll coalesce behind him. I'm very glad that I got to read his position papers today, and I'm wondering if they posted them because they had some information knowing that Ted was going to drop out today. So I'm glad I got to read them first because his policies actually make me feel better about him as a candidate. Now I guess we'll see how he runs his campaign, but now he can focus on Hillary.
Did Cruz are the primary results in? I mean, not that it matters at this point. Like, did Cruz just get it handed to him, you think?
Yeah, it says Trump wins Indiana in a crushing blow to Ted Cruz. I'm not sure what I don't see any.
Well, I mean, crushing blows really all we need to know.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you need to know, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be Trump. So, wow. Brent owes Terry Mahaffey $50.
Really?
Yeah, because Brent.
That's funny.
Terry put up this bet that Donald Trump would be the nominee. Not the president, just the nominee. And I refused to take the bet because I didn't know. I was so uncertain. I said, I'm not taking the bet. Brent took it. So now he owes Mahaffey $50. Hell.
I mean, can we even like?
I'm lost for words.
I know, me too. Like, I mean, I've got some stories, but can we even salvage this thing?
Well, we can, and we're going to salvage it with a message from beyond the grave from Prince.
Yes.
Yep. Basically, Prince from the grave is telling music pirates, "Fuck you." Still, so when he was alive, he was a real fierce opponent to having his music distributed online. That's why he's only available in one legitimate online streaming venue, Tidal. He had a company that represented him and went after piracy online on his behalf. The company is called Web Sheriff, and they apparently are still in his estate's employ, and they are still actively going after people and trying to combat online piracy. Within 24 hours of his death, the site saw more than 100,000 people illegally obtain songs from his back catalog. So they are sending letters and going after these people. They've sent 1,265 takedown notices so far to Google to remove sites that are illegally sharing Prince's music. And I think they're going to be going after individuals as well.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. From the grave, Prince going to come and get your money.
So what happens when they go after an individual?
Nothing so far. Nothing. For downloading music, I don't believe anyone's ever been successfully sued for that. Now, individuals have been successfully sued for sharing music.
Okay.
The big test case was when Napster was still around,
right?
And they went after one young girl, one young lady, and they sued her for sharing 250 songs at a value of $150,000 a piece, and they were successful. So they have successfully sued people for sharing music, but never for downloading music. Apparently, Web Sheriff is going to try to change that. I think they're going after downloaders. So don't download music illegally, I guess, would be the message there, right? I don't know.
I don't even know how to do that.
Yep. Here's a quick one just to finish up. The House of Representatives approves a bill requiring warrants for email searches. So from now, whenever now I bet this doesn't apply to the FISA court, whatever it's called, but for any other court from now, or any other law enforcement agency from now on, in order to ask for access to somebody's email, they have to first obtain a warrant. So again, just more examples of how I think the government is going to come down ultimately on the side of the individual, the citizen, rather than law enforcement.
Right. So I have a couple. I have I mentioned this earlier. Uber is well, we talked about Uber just faced a lawsuit in Massachusetts and California, which is an interesting combination. Yep. The suit was settled, and Uber paid $100,000+ and made some concessions. They were sued and made some concessions in this settlement, including but not limited to Uber can no longer fire people at will in these states. But in Massachusetts and California, Uber did not acquiesce to switching to recognizing drivers as employees. They're
and
still...
Uber got the sweet end of this deal because their drivers are still independent contractors, which means Uber doesn't have to provide benefits or pensions.
Now, hang on, don't steal my fire. Stop it.
Sorry, go ahead.
Because there is a class action lawsuit that is referred to in this article as being America-wide class action lawsuit that seeks to reclassify drivers as employees instead of contractors, which would entitle them to sick leave, overtime, Social Security, and health insurance.
It's going to fail dramatically.
What? Yeah, I was actually interested in your take on it. I mean, and I kind of think it should, but what's your thought?
My thought is that these Uber drivers are biting off their nose to spite their face. They entered into this contract willfully. They knew what they were getting into. And now they have union money behind. And this, by the way, the backing for this is coming from the transportation union. Is what's happening.
Okay, so they're trying to break. Yeah, they're trying to break Uber.
You've got the transportation union trying to get a vocal minority to step up and say, we want to be employees. We want to be employees. While the majority of Uber drivers don't want to be an employee, which is why they drive for Uber, right? Which is why they make their living. And by the way, some of these drivers make a very good living driving for Uber.
Well, and they do other things. There are Uber drivers that do other things than just pick up a shift here and there, pick up a fare on your way home or whatever.
Which would eliminate, if they have to be classified as employees, it would eliminate that entirely.
Right, because they would have to have shifts. You would have to work certain hours.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to fail. First of all, it's not going to have support among the members of the class action. I don't believe. Well, I guess the people that join the class action will support it, but I don't believe the majority of Uber drivers will support it. So I think the membership of the class action will be pretty limited, and it'll be limited to these lefties that, you know, lost their union job somewhere, so they're driving for Uber to make a little bit of cash on the side, and now they're just trying to screw the system for everybody else. I'm generalizing there, obviously. I don't know that's not fact. That's just me being me.
Right.
Yeah, I think Uber will prevail, and their business model will be upheld as it should be. Right? Since when does the government determine how a company incorporates, or how a company, you know, operates that way? I've never known of any company be forced to reclassify contract workers as employees of you. I can't think of an instance.
No, and you know what? I was actually sort of conflating the issues in my head, and I was actually, I mean, and well, let me finish that statement with a company being unionized, and that's not what's happening here. But you're right, and I appreciate you making that distinction, that this isn't just like the employees wanting to be members of a union. This is like reclassifying.
Yeah, it will be reclassifying all their drivers as employees of the company.
Right.
Yeah, it's bullshit. It won't fly. Not going to happen. Not in America.
Not in America.
All right, let's wrap this up.
All right.
What's going on? Remember to get out and vote. Early voting has started. If you're a Republican in Rockdale County, go vote in the Democratic primary. Go to the polls, declare as a Democrat, cast your votes. You get to vote for Eric Levitt for sheriff, and then you can pick the other candidates of your choosing, or none of them. You can just vote for Eric if you choose, but do vote for Eric. That would be
Is it time to vote for our friend Oz?
Yeah, Oz is on the ballot for chairman, along with RJ Hadley and Richard Oden. They're in the primary. And I want to get Courtney Dillard into the studio. He's going to be running as an independent. He's currently trying to get enough signatures to get on the ballot for November for chairman. I like Courtney. I think he's a great guy. I want to get him into the studio and let him talk about his ideas for the county and his policies and the things he's already done in the county up until now, because he has a great record. He hopefully will get enough signatures to be on the ballot come November. We shall see. So yeah, Oz is up for right now. He is on the ballot for chairman, and if Courtney Dillard does get enough signatures, whoever wins the chairman's race will then be in a race in November. If Dillard does not get on the ballot, then the chairman's race will be decided May 23rd. However, Courtney Dillard doesn't have to qualify, I think, until June 25th or something. So even that race will be undecided until we know whether Courtney's on the ballot or not.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be an interesting one to watch. We shall see. What am I doing? I'll be out. I'll be out with the sheriff up at the campaign headquarters for a lot of the week. I'll be there Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Thursday evening, Friday evening, and all day Saturday. So swing on by, come by and say hi, meet the sheriff, shake some hands, hang out, just hang out and chat, talk about your concerns in the community and what you'd like to see happen to address them. Tomorrow night is Mike, the world according to Twat Mike.
We should try not to say twat on the air.
Yeah, well,
we've almost completely eliminated cocksucker from our vocabulary, so that's good.
He came up with the name of his show all by himself, and he wasn't even thinking about the acronym. Mm-hmm. I pointed out to him it was twat.
As a military man, he should think acronyms, for goodness' sake.
He really should. Everything should be an acronym to him. So he's on tomorrow with I imagine with his co-host Danielle and possibly her husband. Wow, whose name evades me. Yikes. Sorry about that. Thursday is Jacob from Tulsa with the Rough Edge.
Can we figure out what time zone he starts in? Is he 6 o'clock our time, their time, your time?
I'm going to say 7 o'clock Eastern and 6 o'clock his local time, whatever time he's on. And that's it. We're done. We're going to say goodnight. I'm going to go home. I'm going to find some food because I'm actually a little bit hungry. And I'm going to watch. What was I started watching something on Netflix and I can't remember what it was. I was going to tell you to watch it. You've been watching Derek.
I have been watching Derek.
Yeah, isn't it brilliant? It's great, right?
It is truly brilliantly acted. There are some episodes that I want to just call you and cuss your ass out because they're so sad.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they break your heart sad.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I could kill you.
We could binge watch Netflix over on FaceTime. Then you can cuss me out right there in person.
Yeah.
All right. We're out of here. Good night, guys. Thank you for listening. See ya. Let me get this back on schedule for Scott. All right. Everyone in YouTube, thank you. Everyone in the chat, thank you. Anyone that watches the replay, we appreciate it. Give us a thumbs up or whatever it's called on YouTube. It is a thumbs up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Thumbs up or a like. I don't know, whatever it is. Anyway, we appreciate you tuning in. Like us, share us.
Comment, question, if you have comments or questions.
Oh, yeah. And of course you can... well, the phone number's right there. Anybody can call in, obviously. I really need an email address where people can email questions. You know that?
You do.
Yeah.
Well, they can just comment on the... Well, I guess that's only if they're watching the replay. They could comment.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Not YouTube.